welcome to another episode of the Chaos Chronicles.
Navigating the randomness.
I'm Jess.
I'm Connie.
And today is part 2 of our Jasmine Richardson and Jeremy Stanky saga.
Runaway Devil.
Yeah, the Runaway Devil.
Yes. So before we get too deep into things, do you want to give the trigger warning?
There is viewer discretion advised. Trigger warning. We talk about a lot. Violence, gory, very big age gap.
I'm going to call it pedophilia.
Essentially, yes. So there's a lot in here. Be smart about it, I guess.
Yeah, maybe don't play this one while your children are around.
No, not recommended.
Or at least wear headphones. But before we go too much deeper than that, just a reminder, you can find us on social media. We'd very much appreciate a like, follow, and subscribe. That's also where you will get notices for parts 3 and likely 4 of this story. Mm-hmm. And the handle for TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram is at Chaos Chronicles Podcast, and that's Chronicles with an S.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get back into our heavy and weird episodes.
Yes. So in a real super fast summary from part 1, in case you didn't just watch that.
Which if you didn't and you're starting in part 2, go back to part 1.
Go back to part 1.
You missed a lot.
You missed a lot. So here's what we know. In 2006, the Richardson family, the mom, Deborah, the dad, Mark, and the son, Jacob, about age 10, they were found murdered in their home, and 12-year-old Jasmine Richardson is presumed missing. So we start digging into a little bit of the family dynamics and who Jasmine was. Jasmine was a young girl who got really into goth, and then from there she went more into, blood, and her hero was Jeffrey Dahmer, according to her social media at the time. Of all people, Jeffrey Dahmer. And now we're finding out that Jasmine was dating a guy, Jeremy Stanky, who was 23, had a history of being severely abused by his biological dad, 2 stepdads afterwards. Like, truly, this kid has got to have some TBI, traumatic brain injury.
For sure.
Possibly fetal alcohol syndrome, not confirmed. Mm-hmm. But he's got a lot going on. He thinks he's a werewolf, and he and Jasmine decide they're going to start dating, and they're kind of doing it secret. But Mark and Deborah Richardson weren't really strict on Jasmine's upbringing, and they had a little bit of concern when Jasmine was dating a 16-year-old, but not much.
Nope.
So yeah, she didn't like her parents. She thought she should run away, but the school counselors, when they talked to her about it, they found that Jasmine is not being abused. She is not living under harsh rules.
She wanted to go into foster care, Connie.
She wanted to go into foster care. The school counselors found, after an investigation, there was no merit to that. It is just a case of a teenager being moody and being mad at her parents.
Yeah. Which they all go through that phase, but to this degree,
it's extreme. She starts posting on multiple websites, posing as being 15 or 16, and she's saying that she loves blood. And she's worshiping serial killers. It's
great.
It's concerning. So yeah, that's kind of where we left off.
Yeah. So jumping back into it. By the way, I am following a book called The Runaway Devil by Robert Remington and Sherry Zickerfuse. And I'm not going to say that the titles of chapters, I haven't been, but this one, I have to. It's titled Roar, R-A-W-R.
Oh God, is it followed by a lowercase x and a capital D?
No.
For those who don't understand that reference, it's the laughing smiley face before you had emojis. Wow, okay. I felt old.
Connie, we're old now. We're in our late 20s.
And according to my 3.5-year-old neighbor, I'm very old. So,
right. So Mark and Deborah, Jasmine's parents, continue to monitor Jasmine's computer. Apparently not that well.
No, because she's still talking to Jeremy and other
Yeah.
folks who, by the way, forgot to mention in the summary, 2 of her friends are a 19-year-old named Raven and a 21-year-old named Trenchcoat.
Yeah, Raven isn't bad because that can be a name, but trench coat is. What are you doing?
They're goths who hang out at the mall, and they are. This group's logo is essentially age is just a number.
Which, when you're in that age group, it's not. It's really not.
No.
Yeah, so anywho, Jasmine's parents were distressed by her profile picture as it painted her in such a dark way.
Her profile picture, as a quick memory, it's her. She looks older. Like, she's 11 in the picture, but she looks 17. We'll try to post the picture if we can. And she's holding a gun, fake gun, pointed at the ceiling.
Yep. And if we can't post the picture, just look up Jasmine Richardson and Jeremy Stanky, and if you go into images on Google, it will pop up, I promise you. So Mark was suspicious that Jasmine was continuing to talk to the older boys. So he took her computer to a computer store and begged the worker to help him hack his daughter's account.
Good father in this case. Good father.
Yeah, the worker said he couldn't help him out, but he should try the police. Mark and Deborah decided to take the computer away from her altogether, but that didn't stop Jasmine. She just went to the local library instead and used their computers for free. And now she was also away from the prying eyes of adults.
Well-intentioned, backfired.
Also, if you're grounding your child, isn't a part of being grounding you can't leave the house?
Maybe it's got a different definition in Canada, but grounded was my ass was locked down. I wasn't going anywhere besides school, piano lessons, home.
So Jasmine goes to the library. Some of Jasmine's friends started becoming uncomfortable with her infatuation with Jeremy. When friends pointed out that she shouldn't be with him because he's so much older than her, Jasmine would just say it's her choice and leave her alone.
Real mature.
Mm-hmm.
From someone who says she's so mature, that is not a mature argument.
Yeah, the same friends pointed out that he's in his 20s, but Jasmine denied this, saying he's 17, even though she later admitted that she knew that he was much older than 17. Her friends said they never thought he was dangerous, but just that he was older and really immature for his age, and they didn't have a good feeling about him, especially because of the age difference. Good friends. Listen to friends.
And these are other like 12, 13-year-olds who are saying like, hey, we're getting a weird vibe. And they're in Jasmine's clique of like the goth age is just a number. But if they're the ones saying it, maybe listen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. Jasmine reached out to some friends saying her mom treats her like a kid. How can she get her to listen? Her friends told her to get rid of Jeremy and actually try doing what her parents say.
Good friends. Also, 12, you are a kid.
Yeah, you are a child. Yeah, one of my nieces is going to be turning 10 in the fall. And I'm like, in 2 years, she would be the same age as Jasmine.
My niece is going to be 11 in a couple weeks. It blows my mind to think of her doing any, like, I see the whole thing because we talked about in the other episode how Jess had heard from a story that, you know, when you're a teenager, no, sorry, Deborah, the mom, had heard. There we go. Deborah, the mom, had heard that when you're a teenager, that's the only time in your life you feel older than you are. When you're in your 20s, you actually feel your age. And when you're out of your 20s, you feel like you're younger than you actually are.
Yep.
So she was using that as kind of like, oh, that's why Jasmine's so like whatever. I see that in my niece, almost 11, where she's got so much of that sass and sarcasm that came in the last year, where it's like, ooh, preteen hormones or something else. Yeah. You are acting like you are 17. You are not. Like, it's okay.
I remember growing up, I never felt my age. I always thought that I was much older than what I actually was.
Same. And it didn't help that we were told constantly from folks, oh, you're so mature.
Mm-hmm. You're so mature. You look so much older than you actually are.
Yep.
But it's a good thing.
It's a good thing that you're
Is
so
it a good
mature.
thing? Is it? You're kind of stopping their childhood by
Very
saying
much.
and doing that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Well-intentioned, maybe don't say it.
Yeah. So Jasmine had just told her friends that they sound just like her mom. Friends of Jeremy's also reached out to him and said he has a job, he's a grown man, and he shouldn't be running around with young girls.
Oh, so multiple folks are calling this out from their community.
Yeah.
Good.
Multiple.
Good.
To express his frustration, Jeremy wrote and posted another poem. We'll never listen to your lies. Why don't you just go ahead and fucking die? We all know you're gonna burn in hell. They'll all keep asking about, but we shall never tell. That's it. After one of Jeremy and Jasmine's secret meetings, Jeremy messaged Jasmine, quote, "How goes it? You were a sight for sore eyes, and I miss you more than killing people. Can we get together and kill people? I have a poem for, number 4, you, and you shall see it when I see you. Tee-hee. Well, I guess I should go. I love you tons." Jasmine responded, saying, quote, "Ah, yes, we shall. I miss you too, a large, large amount that cannot be contained in mere words. I wish to see this poem. Love you." So this poem that Jeremy was talking about was this. Quote, "There's something about your beauty that makes life with you feel like a movie. It's like a dream come true. The skies are always blue. When I'm with you, I feel alive. You make me want to take that dive. I swear to you that I could never lie. Your soft, sweet lips could get me high." That is his poem to Jasmine.
To 12-year-old Jasmine from 23-year-old Jeremy. Is anyone else angry? I'm angry. Yeah.
I feel nauseous.
I think I've now gone beyond the nausea into the anger.
I think I read that, guys, I read that book in 2 days. I think I'm kind of numbed out to it.
Yeah,
All right. So on March 16th, Jeremy messaged with a friend and told him that he and Jasmine were fantasizing about killing Mark, Deborah, and Jacob in a copycat scenario from their favorite movie, Natural Born Killers.
What Jacob do?
We'll get to it. He is innocent. I will say that. I will
He's
tell
a
you.
10-year-old boy.
Innocent. Yeah. So during this time, Mark and Deborah insisted that they and Jasmine go to counseling. Jasmine shockingly agreed, probably, though, just to get more freedom. After several sessions, Jasmine was more cooperative and less hostile, so Mark and Deborah decided to let her go back to those punk shows, but only if they can accompany her. That, from my understanding, was her only form of grounding, was that she was not able to go to the punk shows. So, yeah. So when they were saying grounding, that, yeah. And I guess eventually they took away our computer.
God damn.
Yeah. So Jasmine agreed, but only because she was so desperate to see her friends. At the show, though, Jasmine snuck off to see Jeremy, and they started making out in the back alley.
1, 2, really? Your parents are...
Yep. So Jasmine's parents made their way into the alley and caught Jasmine and Jeremy together. Jeremy bolted when he saw Mark's face. Mark,
First smart thing that dumbass has done.
I know. And that should have been the end of that. I just, ugh. Yeah.
Operative word is should have, which means it wasn't.
Yeah. So Mark and Deborah stormed off with Jasmine behind them and drove her home immediately. She was grounded for an entire month with no phone or computer privileges, no music, no eyeliner, and no hair straightener.
There we go. This was needed over a year ago.
Uh-huh. So she was to go to school and then right back home. Her friends were turned away from the door if they showed up. Jasmine felt like a prisoner in her home. She was really angry and didn't feel like her parents loved her. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Jasmine kept communicating with Jeremy on the computers at the library. Again, how was she allowed to go to the library?
2006. Mom, I have a research project for school. I get it. But also, it's a computer. Do you not... Okay.
Yeah, so she wasted no time after being caught in the alley with Jeremy. So she sent him a message, quote, sex, 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 oh, and love.
I'm sorry, did you say sex is in S-E-X, the act of intercourse?
4 times. 4 times. Mm-hmm.
Does this bitch think saying sex 4 times is foreplay? No, wrong 4.
Apparently. So this message actually upset Jeremy because he wanted because he wanted to be loved more than anything, and love just seemed to be an afterthought of the message. 2 days later, Jasmine clarified that it means, quote, that I miss you an overwhelmingly large amount and love you, and also that I want to, in caps, bang you. Ah ha 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 love. That was her message. Remember when I had told you it was going to get worse?
Oh, hey, look, it's worse.
Yeah. Want me to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay.
But let's... Oh, we're on the slippery slope to hell. Let's just keep going in this dumpster fire again.
Yeah.
What? Okay. Zeus, this is some bull-ass shit. You gonna come snuggle? Thank you.
Buddy.
He's like, Mom, watch your blood pressure.
Oh, gosh. All right. So on March 20th, so 2 days after the show, Jeremy supposedly accidentally dialed Jasmine's number instead of a different friend's. And of course, her parents answered. He messaged her after saying, quote, her pages were being constantly monitored and Jasmine's anger grew because her lack of privacy.
I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. But, and this
You gave them a reason.
You gave them a reason. And this is a controversial thing, but it is how I was raised. And this is how I would raise my children too. Privacy is a privilege when you are under a certain age when it comes to things like the internet.
Yeah. I'll have to really dig deep for that one.
I know it's hard, but it's because of, look at any given episode where we've talked about weird shit happening. And besides Zodiac, which predates the internet.
Yeah. But also, like, I don't want to stop my child from being on the internet. I may not allow them to go on places like Vampire Freaks.
That's true. See, and that's where I sat before until my niece, who's turning 11, her mom is very on top of, her mom is my coworker, is very on top of like making sure all the kid, or the parental locks are on and all this other stuff. So my niece,
work around him.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. My niece is on YouTube Kids, which parents, if you're listening, I'm so sorry to break this to you. My niece is on YouTube Kids. She's watching the Roblox videos. She's watching Minecraft, and there's another new game that I don't remember what it is, but it's like those two. And it's adult creators, like ages from 16, so young adult, to like in their late 20s who make these videos with storylines for kids, and they teach kids how to turn off the parental locks.
Mhm.
And they do this through YouTube Kids and through other kid-friendly platforms that adults have permeated. And that is what terrifies me, because my niece was so proud. She came to me and she goes, Auntie Connie, Tia Concha, look, like, I can look at this video and I can do this and this. And I'm like, oh, your phone's supposed to be locked right now. Like, your mom put the parental controls on. Oh, no, I learned how to turn all that off from this video here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that drove me nuts. And I was like, oh, sweetie. So I told her mom, I'm like, hey, not to breach her trust here, but like, concerned because she's watching videos about people having affairs and cheating on each other, and it's marketed as a kid's Roblox story. And my coworker's like, so that's where she learned about someone having an affair and getting pregnant with someone else's husband. And I'm like,
Yikes.
She was 9 at the time.
Yikes.
Yeah, anyway, so that's my approach to the internet. That's where I'm coming from. And Mark and Debbie are doing their best because the internet is still a new monster back at this time.
Oh, especially back then, yeah.
Yes, so I'm not trying to bash on them too much, but...
Yeah. But so... so we just read Jeremy's beautiful message to Jasmine. In late March, Jasmine wrote back to Jeremy saying, quote, "Rawr, I hate them so much. So I have this plan. It begins with me killing them and ends with me living with you. So we are set. I'm going to try to call you, but I don't really know if I'll be able to. They are treating me like shit. I hate them so much. But I hope this won't bring us far apart. I hope to talk to you soon, and I love you with all my heart. Love."
Oh no. Oh, no. I remember what you said in the part 1 episode. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
The next day, Jeremy responded, quote, "Well, I love your plan, but we need to get a little more creative with, like, details and stuff. I wish they wouldn't treat you that way. Grr, it angers me to hear that. I dislike them very much. Don't worry, I love you too, my sexy beast. I hope to hear from you soon. To take care, my love. You have the key to my heart, and soon enough you shall have my heart if I die anyways, because if I give it to you now, I'll die. Then you won't be able to hear me say how much I love you. Love, XOXOXO."
And I need a different flag. I need a vomit flag. What's a vomit flag? I need a vomit flag. Can I just start waving a bucket? The bucket?
I'm like tearing up. That was so bad.
I am so proud of you for getting through that. I don't know if I could have read that straightforward without having a couple of like gags in there.
It wasn't easy.
It was not easy.
It was not easy.
It was not me. And if anyone's like, oh guys, you're being so mean, you're judging these young folks. Yeah, I am. Okay.
One is 23, the other is 12.
The 23-year-old called the 12-year-old a sexy beast.
Uh-huh.
Straight to jail. Straight to jail. No trial. Straight to jail.
On March 24th, Jeremy posted another poem to his Nexopia page. Quote, "My girlfriend's family are totally unfair. They say that they really care. They don't know what is going on. They just assume, as their greed continues to consume, she is slowly going insane. She continues to think that I came into her life to help her out and stop what they're trying to should." Again, this is straight from here. It's not me doing all these weird typos. Continuing, "It's all total bullshit. Their throats I want to slit. They will regret the shit they have done, especially when I see to it that they are gone." They shall pay for their insolence. Finally, there shall be silence. Their blood shall be payment. End quote.
Oh, you pompous poser. Could we have Shakespeare as a guest on? I want Shakespeare's reaction to that quote unquote prose. Like, Shaky Boy, like, break
Shaky
it down
boy.
here. Tell us exactly how awful that was, because I could say how awful it was, but I need some like eloquent words coming from someone else.
The amount of squiggly lines in these quotes, because there's a lot of quotes in here. The amount of squiggly lines under all these.
Oh, I'm sure your computer was like, this bitch is having a rough night.
I know, and the amount of times that I had to go back and like undo the autocorrects because I'm like, nope, I know it's not correct, but I can't do nothing about it.
It's a direct quote.
Oh, by the way, I haven't mentioned yet, all the theirs and yours
Are wrong.
are wrong.
Shocker. Actually, I would have been more shocked if you're like, oh, he actually used the correct grammatical form. I would have been like, son of a bitch.
Some of them were right, most were wrong. And it hurt my brain, and eventually I just got to the point yesterday where I was like, you know what? I don't care. The only person that's going to know it is me because I'm the one reading it. So, for my sanity. Ugh.
I'm so glad you did the notes. That would have driven me up the mother freaking wall. But again, I've also been raised by a mother who's done editing pretty much her entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So I was raised with that very strict standard of you use everything correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, at the end of March, Jasmine tried to sneak out of the house, but the back door creaked and her parents caught her and made her come back inside. In early April, Jasmine tried again, this time crawling through the basement window. She ran to their meetup point where Jeremy was waiting with his mother's truck. He drove them back to his mother's trailer, and they went inside Jeremy's cramped bedroom. They shut the door, put on a movie, and had sex. 12-year-old and 23-year-old. After, Jeremy drove her back, and she slipped into the backyard. Jasmine had left a pair of pajamas on the back deck, so she pulled that over her pants. Before she made it inside, their family dog started barking, and her parents came down. Jasmine made up a story about her having a bad dream and needed to go outside to get air, and they weren't sure whether to believe her or not. By early April, do you need a second?
12, 20, they had sex at 12 and 23?
Yeah. So by early April of 2006, Jeremy and Jasmine were plotting a massacre. Jeremy was so furious with Jasmine's parents for locking her up. Jasmine began to creep out of her bedroom around 1 a.m. for late-night phone calls with Jeremy to discuss how to solve her parent problem. They often fantasized about escaping to their castle in Europe. Eventually, they decided running away wouldn't work because her parents would eventually track her down. They then would talk about if they took her parents out, it would be unfair to leave her little brother alone in the world, so he would have to die too. They talked about this often and talked about how they could do it: shooting, stabbing, knocking them out, and setting the house on fire. One of Jasmine's friends said that she was the one pressuring Jeremy to kill her parents. So Jasmine was the one pressuring. In many conversations, it seemed that Jasmine was the puppet master and Jeremy her marionette.
I'm getting that vibe.
Some of Jasmine's friends overheard a phone conversation between Jasmine and Jeremy. Jasmine had said that she hated her parents so much and wished they were dead. She couldn't stand it anymore and they had to die. She needed him to do this for her. At that point, her friend walked away because she was so upset with the conversation she overheard. Mid-April, Jeremy and a friend were smoking pot. It was clear to his friend that something was weighing heavily on Jeremy. Jeremy finally asked, quote, "How far would you go for love?" His friend asked what he was talking about. Jeremy tells him that Jasmine is going to break up with him if he doesn't do it soon, but he doesn't think he can do it by himself. He needs someone else he can trust, and then asks if his buddy is in. The friend tells him to go fuck himself.
Good friend. Actually, no. Friend would be good if friend called the cops.
Yeah. In hopes to sway Jeremy's mind, his friend gave him a copy of Marauders, Murderous. Murderers? I don't know. The movie is essentially about a couple that killed his girlfriend's abusive parents. Unfortunately, that didn't sway Jeremy's mind. He was actually fascinated by it. He decided he would do anything for his beloved Jasmine. Jeremy wrote a song called Bloodshedding Fight and posted the lyrics to Nexopia. Quote, "You feel you're alone, but you're not. I will give you everything that I've got. I will prove this to you. This is true when you see everything I do." The chorus, "I will kill, I will spill the blood for you tonight. It will be a bloodshedding fight. You satisfy my hunger, you quench my thirst. You should know you'll always be the first one to come, one to go, one to always let me know what you think, how you feel. And it's my heart, and if it's my heart you want to steal, you know that I am here for the year if with me you want to be sincere." Again, the chorus line. And then, "If you want the world, then we shall conquer. If you promise that you will stay longer, we'll fight them all and see them fall and watch our shadows grow tall. They're all doomed and consumed, but bloodshed and horror. We'll continue to kill and torture if thy lady desires more of a bloodshedding fight." And that is his song.
Okay, one, content. Ugh. Two, I am not a songwriter or a composer. That being said, I've been in music long enough and I have enough proficiency with English and poetry to know that that was shit.
It was also really hard to read.
Yeah.
Like, just the words are really just not great to...
No.
They don't flow. It's very choppy. There is no...
It is like a 13-year-old trying to write an edgy poem.
Yeah.
Where they do not understand prose or anything. They just think everything has to rhyme.
And this is also why I think the authors brought up the fetal alcohol syndrome, because he's acting a lot younger. A lot younger.
If you had asked me who wrote that, I would have been like, at max, maybe a 15, 16-year-old boy. Boy, at for most. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm like, this is not a kid who's good in school. I'll tell you that.
No. So on April 22nd, during the day, Jeremy bought a 12-pack of beer and an 8-ounce bag of pot. Jeremy was hanging out with friends, smoking pot and drinking beer, and Jeremy had planned on getting drunk. At the same time, Jacob and Gareth, the next-door neighbor kid, were out in the family backyard playing and eating hot dogs. A few more friends came over to Jeremy's trailer, and the party continued into the evening. After finishing the beer, he raided his mother's supply in the fridge so him and his buddies could continue. When that ran out, he pulled out the bottle of vodka that was kept in the freezer.
If you keep vodka in the freezer, you have problems, plural.
We've already gone over that.
And you know what? If you're Russian and you have your vodka in the freezer, fine, I understand it's a different cultural thing, but here on this side of the Atlantic,
It's weird.
extreme.
You have problems. Yeah. Do you feel better with your...
Slightly, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, it actually is nice. It's like a stress ball. Just gonna red flag.
I told you you're gonna use it a lot in this one.
Some of this is so I can't even get to the flag because I'm just like I'm trying
You're
to control
too stunned.
I'm trying to control facial expression on camera, and I'm sure I have failed.
And that is why I did the research for this one and not Connie, because Connie's reactions are priceless.
Everything about this just gets worse.
So around 8 p.m., Jasmine had finished taking a bath. A friend called and Jasmine told her to move the conversation away from prying ears. So Jasmine got a message online asking if she wanted to go to the mall or swim the next day. Jasmine said she couldn't, and after her friend asked why, but Jasmine had signed off. It is now 9 p.m., and Jeremy is high on pot and drunk. Jeremy left the trailer and went over to his friend's house, the one who gave him the movie. The friend, had friends over already, but Jeremy came in, even though his friend seemed to be hiding from him. Jeremy came to ask for his help. His friend said no way. He doesn't have it in him to kill another human. His friend claims that he wasn't sure if Jeremy was serious, but he was definitely bothered by the conversation.
I mean, yeah, most folks would be.
Jeremy had left, but called his friend back once he got back to the trailer. During the phone call, Jeremy said that if he or anyone else tells the police about this, he will kill all of them because he can't know for sure who the rat would be. Jeremy and his friends put on Natural Born Killers around 10:30 at night, which was Jeremy's favorite movie. During this movie, Jeremy was making comments. In the movie, apparently the abusive father is killed by drowning him in a fish tank, and they burn the mother alive in bed. Jeremy blurts out that Jasmine doesn't have a fish tank. In the movie, after killing the parents, they turn to the little brother and tells him he is free. Jeremy again blurts out, quote, "That's where it's going to be different. Jasmine is going to kill her brother," end quote. Jeremy was often talking about killing people, so it wasn't totally weird. One friend was off-put by it and told him to stop talking about killing Jasmine's family.
He often talks about killing people?
Mm-hmm. Jeremy replied, if she can talk Jasmine out of it, he won't do it. One of the 3 people that were at the trailer went home around 1 a.m. and the other 2 crashed on his couch. Around 2 a.m., one of his friends overheard Jeremy on the phone asking if she is sure she wants to do this. The next thing she knew, Jeremy was driving away in his mother's pickup truck.
Drunk and high and driving.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're just adding to the list of wonderful decisions made here.
Oh, there's going to be a couple more bad decisions. Jeremy drove to an apartment building around 3 a.m. to get cocaine. The dealer's girlfriend couldn't remember how many lines Jeremy did, but says he did a fair amount.
If a cokehead is telling that you did a fair amount, you did a ton.
Exactly.
It's
a lot. So, cocaine, if you guys haven't heard, is a stimulant to the nervous system. Effects can last anywhere from 20 minutes to hours. It can give users feeling of euphoria, energy, restlessness, hyperactivity, and can produce a feeling of invincibility. After snorting coke, the 3 of them drank a California-based vampire vineyard wine called the Blood of the Vine.
I'm all about a good pun and a good marketing, but in context of this, oh dear God.
Yeah. The dealer's girlfriend offered Jeremy ecstasy. He took it and also bought 2 grams of cocaine.
Grams?
Grams. Which, that's a fuck ton if you guys don't know.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
So hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ask away.
Alcohol.
Uh-huh.
Weed.
Uh-huh.
Cocaine.
Uh-huh.
A lot. And ecstasy?
Yeah. And then 2 more grams of cocaine.
So he's just missing meth and fentanyl, and then he would hit the drug holy grail.
Yeah. Listeners, don't try it.
Don't try. If you want to talk to God and the devil and then never come back to your earthly body, don't do drugs.
So the dealer and his girlfriend think that Jeremy was there for about an hour. After leaving the apartment, Jeremy drove to a convenience store for a pack of gum, as Jasmine didn't like the smell of smoke on his breath. Apparently he was smoking cigarettes too.
Tobacco, yeah!
We're just gonna throw it all in there, because why the fuck not, I guess.
He is flirting with death.
Don't smoke either, guys. It's not good.
No. His biggest concern in all this is, oh, Jasmine's not gonna like my tobacco breath. Let me get some fresh wintergreen gum. Nothing like the wintergreen for killing. Fucking no.
Yeah. So he then drove to Jasmine's house. Jeremy parked and picked up a pine cone from a tree and tossed it at her window. Jasmine looked out and motioned for him to go to the basement window. Jeremy went to the back of the house and saw the open window. He had seen her come through that window before. He had never snuck into her house before, but tonight was different. Jeremy went inside with a knife in his black hoodie. Deborah, hearing a noise, probably suspecting that Jasmine was trying to sneak out again, she walked into the basement, dressed in a blue nightgown, and turned on the light. She saw a man in black clothing, a black neoprene face mask, black fishnet arm stockings, leather wristband, neck bandana, and eyes lined in black. Deborah was no match for him. The cocaine-fueled Jeremy slashed at Deborah and she screamed. Mark jumped out of bed in his black boxer shorts and flew downstairs to see an all-black figure over his wife. Mark attacked Jeremy. Mark jumped on him and attempted to stab Jeremy in the chest with a screwdriver. Then he grabbed Jeremy's face and shoved his thumbs in his eyes.
Good.
Mark had a size advantage, but Jeremy had the cocaine advantage. Jeremy stabbed Mark multiple times. Jeremy lost track of how many times. Jeremy got out from under Mark and tried to run, but despite his injuries, Mark caught him and began to choke Jeremy, so Jeremy began to start stabbing him again. Mark asked, "Who are you?" Jeremy didn't reply. Mark fell back onto the floor and pleaded, "Why?" Jeremy screamed back, "'Cause you treat your daughter like shit. It's what your daughter wanted." How horrible that these were his last words that he heard.
So he died knowing his daughter brought this on them.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going through really heavy stuff here. It's not a light episode.
No. Okay, I'm gonna hold comments. Where's Jacob in all this?
We'll get there.
Oh,
unfortunately. Fuck. Jeremy was panting and soaked in blood. He stumbled up the stairs and met Jasmine in the kitchen. Jeremy states that she gave him a hug, kissed him, and said that she loved him. She then turned around and went back upstairs. He waited for a short while and then went to go see what she was doing. He assumed that she was grabbing belongings, but heard a conversation going on. Jacob was cowering in his bed and asked Jasmine what was going on. Jasmine told him to go back to sleep. Jasmine cradled Jacob's neck and began to squeeze hard. Jacob dug his fingernails in her arm, leaving marks. He asked what she was doing, broke free, and ran into the hall. And this story, we'll go into more details and later down, probably in the next part. But what happened to Jacob is very contradictory, and we'll get into that. But this is their picture that they're painting. So it's a little contradictory, and we'll get into that later. But going back to the story that these authors painted. Jacob dug his fingernails in her arm, leaving marks. He asked what she was doing, broke free, and ran into the hall. Jasmine heard Jeremy's breathing as he lumbered up the stairs. Blood was all over him, and he was dragging his sleeve on the wall. Jeremy looked at Jacob, then Jasmine, and said they can't just leave him. Jacob fought for his life like his father. Blood was on nearly every surface. After he died, Jasmine walked into the bathroom, rinsed off the knife that was used, and left it on the counter in a pink puddle. Jeremy went down the stairs to the kitchen. He was waiting for Jasmine. Jasmine appeared, gave him a hug, and told him to wait for her. She needed 15 to 20 minutes to do something. Jeremy was still stoned and was paranoid that someone saw him. He began to panic, saying that he was going outside for fresh air and she needs to hurry up. Jasmine went upstairs to grab a bag, stuff in a pair of pants, toiletries, and her mother's purse. Jeremy went outside, but panic set in. He took off to his truck and drove back to the trailer, leaving Jasmine there. On his way, he had to pull over to vomit. Jasmine finished gathering her things and went back to the kitchen. There was blood smeared on the inside of the back door above the handle, and her beloved Jeremy was gone. Jasmine called the trailer over and over, and finally around 5:15 a.m., Jeremy's friend who stayed over answered, saying that Jeremy wasn't there and Jasmine would have to take a cab over. Jasmine didn't know the address, so the friend gave her the street number. Jasmine ordered a cab, and when she hung up, she realized that she needed money. So she grabbed her mom's purse and ran down a few blocks to 7-Eleven and withdrew cash. She ran back home, and the cab was already there. It was about a 10-minute drive over to the trailer. The driver kept an eye on her, as he never leaves anyone alone, standing alone at that time of day. But she looked at him and then went inside. Jeremy was back when Jasmine arrived. He greeted her with a hug and said he loved her. He has a cut and an eye that is swelling, but he cleaned up. According to his friend, who was still there, Jeremy stuffed clothes into a white plastic grocery bag, and he and Jasmine put something else in the bag and left. The two of them went back to the dealer's house, and Jeremy told him, quote, he just got fucked up. The dealer says Jeremy looked rough, and Jasmine was spaced out, like she had seen a ghost. The dealer's girlfriend went and got Jeremy some ice for his eyes, and the dealer said that he and Jasmine could take the bedroom and crash for the night. They sat in the living room, and Jeremy asked the dealer how to clean blood off knives. The dealer was spooked because he said knives, as in plural. According to Jasmine, they went into the bedroom at the dealer's apartment. Jeremy got into bed and took off his shirt. She laid down beside him, but couldn't shut her eyes. She got back up and started pacing. She states, quote, we were talking and I kind of cuddled up to him. He was trying to make me feel better and comforted me. I was scared. He asked me to rub his back. We started kissing, and he pulled me on top of him, and we had sex. End quote. Jeremy fell asleep, but Jasmine still couldn't. She states, quote, I didn't feel like anything was real. I was so out of my mind. I couldn't really process what had happened, and I was trying really hard to not think about it. End quote. She ended up falling asleep, and they all woke up in the early afternoon. Jasmine felt sick, but tried to eat something and went to apply eyeliner since they were all going out. So the dealer, Jeremy, and Jasmine got into Jeremy's truck and went to the liquor store. They then went to a party. Jeremy wore dark sunglasses to cover the bruise that swelled his eyes shut. Jeremy was so excited. Jasmine was finally free, and he could introduce her to his many friends. At this party, Jasmine and Jeremy were seen lying on a couch together, kissing, hugging, and laughing. Jasmine was straddling Jeremy, and she was rubbing up on Jeremy. Jasmine said that she was trying to hold it together, and Jeremy seemed distant and closed off, and she needed to make sure he still loved her. A close friend of Jeremy came by, and Jeremy wanted to talk to him. So this close friend was James. James was in a rush as he was moving into a new place, but as soon as he, Jeremy, and Jasmine entered a more private room, Jeremy blurted out, quote, "We killed my girlfriend's family last night. I gutted them like a fish." End quote. His friend looked at them in disbelief. Jeremy's tone was mellow, like they were having an everyday conversation. Jasmine confirmed immediately and said, quote, "My little brother gargled." End quote. Jeremy's friend said that they are crazy and walked away. The friend later says that he couldn't believe that their best friend would do anything like that. Another close friend of Jeremy's came by around 4:30, and Jeremy took her aside and asked if she could wipe down his truck, as there was stuff in there that he didn't want his mom to see and wanted the seats to be cleaned when he returned the truck. His friend said yes, and she and another friend moved the truck behind bushes and started wiping the seats down with disposable wipes. There were a few stains on the seats, but it didn't look bad. Both girls cleaning the truck were very stoned and thought they were cleaning rust. They didn't ask any questions because Jeremy was their friend, and also they were very, very stoned. To be nice, one of the girls even removed the garbage from the truck, receipts, empty bottles, and stuff like that, just to be nice. The girls were pleased with the job they did and drove the truck back to the party. When they got back, Jeremy was agitated, and the news of the murders were being reported on TV and the radio. All right, so we are going to stop here. Apologies, we kind of left you on a cliffhanger. But that just means that you'll have to tune in for part 3. We don't want to make these episodes too long. If we did this all in one, it would be like a 6+ hour episode probably.
Yeah.
So we're breaking it up. Make sure that you're following us on all social media. We are on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, and Instagram, all at Chaos Chronicles Podcast, and that's Chronicles with an S. Make sure that you're subscribed, and so you can be notified when we upload the next part. And sorry, I'm talking fast and flustered because,
Yeah, this is.
Yeah. So stay tuned for part 3.
Right. Adios.
Bye.
Still, what the? You read this at night, girl. How did you sleep? She said that he gargled. He gargled. Fucking little psychopath.
Mm-hmm.